Yeah, I gotta check in now. We're ready.
School teacher and be like,
You can, yeah. Get out your little basket, collect everybody's phone. I get so much less done now. If we
Commissioners. I'd like to call to order the Sweetwater County Commissioners meeting for this Tuesday, August 17th of 2021. With that, I would like to notify that there is a quorum present with 4 commissioners in the chamber, and Commissioner Toman is via Zoom. Also, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, I would like to thank my fellow commissioners for having covered the Board of Equalization hearings yesterday in my absence, and a special thank you to Commissioner Smith for chairing that hearing. And just to let you know that I won't abandon you again. Thank you very much for what you did yesterday, commissioners, and covering for me. All right, first action is approval of the agenda. First up, I would ask Commissioner Toman, do you have a amendment for the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would amend the agenda to remove the pre-decisional for cooperating agency.
All right.
And approve it otherwise.
Thank you. We have a request by Commissioner Toman that we amend the agenda by removing pre-decisional from executive session. Are there any other amendments for the agenda? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. I'd like to add a resolution supporting passenger rail expansion in the greater Northwest.
All right, then we also have an amendment to add a resolution in supporting passenger rail by Commissioner Smith. Any other amendments, commissioners? With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the 2 requested amendments.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. I'll move a little slower, Commissioner Toman. Thank you. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is approval of the minutes from August 3rd of 2021. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
I'd like to approve and motion to make an acceptance of the bills with the approval of the county vouchers and warrants, approval of bonds.
Point of
approval.
order.
Yeah.
We're at the approval of the minutes.
Sorry, I'm ahead.
Would you,
So,
Commissioner?
yeah, we'll approve the minutes from 8/3.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith to approve the minutes of August 3rd,
Or Lord.
2021. Do I have a second?
Commissioner Smith will second.
Commissioner Smith will second. Did Commissioner Lloyd make that motion?
Commissioner Lloyd made the
I
motion.
thought so. It's going to be a great start.
We're off and running.
Man, I told Ron
Be
Wild a few
quiet
minutes
for a
ago,
few
have you ever had
minutes.
the morning you can't get rolling on? This is it.
All righty. Motion by Commissioner Lloyd to approve the minutes. Second by Commissioner Smith. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, Mary?
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
same sign. Thank you. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. It'll only get better now. Up next is the acceptance of the bills. Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
I'd like a second try at this. All right, I move that we accept the bills with the approval of the EA, approval of the county's vouchers, warrants, approval of bonds, approval of the monthly reports, and the approval of the abates and rebates.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Lloyd to approve the bills, which includes the voucher warrants, bonds, monthly reports, abates and rebates. Is there a second?
second,
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is county resident concerns. So at this time, I will open the floor for county resident concerns. If there's anybody in chambers that wishes to address the commission, Now is the time. Please come forward to the podium, introduce yourself and who you're with. Floor is open for county resident concerns. County resident concerns. Anything coming across Clerk Lane? Last call, county resident concerns. Floor is closed. Commissioners, will now move into our action and presentation items. Tabs, first up is tab C. It's the Federal Aviation Administration Airport Improvement Program, the AIP grant agreement. To present is Mr. Brubaker. Is Mr. Brubaker? There you are. Good morning, Devin.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I apologize for not being there in person. We have a little bit of a busy morning here starting the terminal project this morning, as well as airfield seal coat and marking project this morning. So got quite a few moving parts here on the property. So Mr. Chairman, before you all today is
Mr. Brubaker.
Yes.
We know who you are, but will you tell us what your title is and your role with the airport?
All right. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Devin Brubaker, Airport Director for the Rock Springs Sweetwater County Airport Board and the Southwest Wyoming Regional Airport.
Thank you.
Before you today is a grant agreement from the Federal Aviation Administration for a little over $1.1 million. This is COVID relief funding that was approved as part of the American Rescue Plan Act, I believe back in March. This is the third round of COVID relief funding for the airport. There will be another much smaller grant coming in the future for just about $20,000, and that will be for concessions relief, which we're required to administer as part of the FAA. The COVID relief that Congress provided to the FAA, but this specific grant will be used to cover future operational expenses as well as costs incurred to combat the spread of COVID-19. As we all know, COVID-19 is not going away, unfortunately, anytime soon. It continues to evolve. The situation continues to evolve, and so does our response here at the airport. So these funds, much like the funds received from the CARES Act in 2020 and CRISA earlier this year, will be used to help offset those expenses. It is 100% federal. There is no local match, and it does have the digital signature format, Mr. Chairman, that you are used to by now. That if it's approved, you will sign, and then it'll go to your county attorney for signature. So happy to answer any questions you all have. Pretty simple grant on this one.
Thank you, Devin. First off, commissioners, any questions for Mr. Brubaker? No questions. Any questions, Commissioner Tolman?
No.
Okay. With this, I'll give the floor to Commissioner Tolman and as a liaison for the airport. Would you like to make a motion, Commissioner Tolman?
Yes, I would make a motion to approve the signing of the proposal that Devin has presented you.
Okay, there, and authorized chairman to sign.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion to approve the FAA AIP grant agreement in the amount of $1,118,564 and authorize the chairman to sign. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Devin, we'll get it signed so it can get right to Mr. Brubaker, and thank you for everything you do out there.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I better say, nice background to Commissioner Toman there with the airplanes in the background. So, nice background.
Yes.
Hey,
very
it jumps up when it pleases. I tried to get it on for the airport board meeting and it wouldn't come on, but today it jumped up by itself. So
All
that
right,
was
well,
Air Force 2.5 doing surveillance for Vice President Cheney. That was my airplane.
gotcha.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, commissioners. Have a great day.
You too, Devin. Thank you for what you do and be safe.
All right,
Up
thank you.
next is the tab D, acceptance of the fiscal year 2020 assistance to firefighters grant award. And I believe with us, this was due at 9 o'clock. And I'm going to ask Miss Marshall do you know if Fire Warden Bornasian was going to try to be on? No.
I can wait till 9 if you want to jump ahead.
Let's go ahead and let's leave tab D till 9 and see if the fire warden comes on, because this is a pretty celebrative grant for the county as well as fire department. So let's hold on tab D and let's move into tab E. And at this time, it'll be the publication of name, position, base annual salary of, and the amount of overtime paid to each full-time employee and each elected official for the county. So to present that is Miss Lane, our county clerk. Good morning, Miss Lane.
Good morning, Chairman Winling, Commissioners.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, so pursuant to Wyoming Statute 18-3-516B, publication of name, position, base annual salary of and amount of overtime pay paid to each full-time employee and each elected official must be published in our official county newspaper. So I am asking permission to make this publication in the Green River Star. It has to be done every August.
Thank you, Clerk Lane. Any questions for Clerk Lane, commissioners? Any questions? I do have one. I've got to find it. I don't want to say anything out of turn. Let me find. Come on, Treasurer's Office, Miss Lane.
Yes,
As soon as I get there.
that Mr. Barbuto is on there.
Pardon?
Treasurer Barbuto is in there. Is that what?
Yes, he's in there, but
Yes.
my question is the amount.
Oh, why is it not the 100,000?
Well, no, how come it is so much if it's just for the
Um,
remainder of this year?
Yes, so we will put this in the newspaper. We are looking into, that is the amount that he will make in this next fiscal year. We reported what his annual base salary is.
All right, so your annual base versus not actuals for this year. That answers
Exactly,
my
yes.
question. Thank you very much. Any other questions, commissioners? And will this get published in the
Green River Star,
Green River Star?
yes.
Okay, commissioners, regarding the publication of the named positions, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Shanefield.
I will make a motion to have them published in the Green River Star as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Shanefield to have the publication of names, position, base annual salaries of the annual overtime paid published in the Green River Star. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Lane. Okay. I think we can go ahead with tab F, commissioners, which is, well,
He's there. now.
pardon?
He's there.
Warden Bornasian? Well, let's hold, let's
I
just,
wonder if he thought we got it done already.
Is he on a fire though, or is he in Montana or something?
I'm not sure if he's back, but he was on fire, but he was up there.
Didn't he last also?
Commissioners, let's just hold and I'll text him and see if he can get on. Okay, we'll see what happens. With that, I think Mr. Bingham's here, so let's move on with the Natrium with the resolution supporting Sweetwater County as a future location for the Natrium Reactor project. And here to present that is Mr. Bingham from our Planning and Zoning Office. Good morning, Mr. Bingham.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a pretty straightforward, as you know, and Ms. Kayla McDonald presented it at the last, in the second July Board of County Commissioner meeting, that on July 7th, this Board of County Commissioners signed a letter in support of the Sweetwater County as a future location for the Natrium project. And what we have before you today is an actual resolution that backs up that letter and further clarifies Sweetwater County's position as a future location for the Natrium facility. In the audience is Mr. Ron Wild as a representative of Rocky Mountain Power. So we welcome him here and thank you. And Mr. Chairman, I just ask for your support of this resolution clarifying Sweetwater County's position on the Natrium project. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, let's before we ask any questions from any of the commissioners, Mr. Bingham, would it be too much to have you read resolution 21-08-CC-01?
Sure.
Would you please? Thank you.
Are we stalling time?
Well, I guess I didn't think about that, but
as we wait for Mr. Bornasian. Oh,
all
yes,
right, well,
okay.
as
Never
long
mind,
as
Eric.
We'll
Go
go,
ahead.
we'll go back to Mike after you're done.
Okay.
No,
will do that.
I think, no, I really believe that it's important to read the resolution because, we know that through SEDC, they send a recruitment packet and we all signed a letter as commissioners.
Yes.
But I think with this particular resolution, it begins to set a tone of a new era of, hey, we really want for the county of Sweetwater County and neighboring counties, the location of this reactor unit in the county. And it's a opportunity to send Rocky Mountain Power as well as the I believe it's Bill Gates, or what's the
Our power.
TerraPower. It sends a message that, hey, we're here to really embrace what they have to offer and to work with them. And we're making a commitment to them to make this work. So I think it's important to read it. And that's where I'm at. And I don't know what any other commissioners' thoughts are regarding the resolution before you read it.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I just want to say from a diversification standpoint, this is something that could and will save Wyoming's economy overall. And even if we don't have the first reactor here in Sweetwater County, there will be many. And we want Natrium to be here because we're open, we're ready. We have a great group of people working together right now with SEDC. And I think it's the strongest that we've ever been with economic development and partnerships in our community. And I'm really excited at the opportunity. Like I said, whether it's this one or the next, or even the next after that, we want Rocky Mountain Power and TerraPower to know that we're ready. We're excited about it, and we're, open arms here in Sweetwater County.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any other commissioner wish to say anything?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
I just want to echo the words that Commissioner Shanefield had shared and just say that I'm excited about this because I think sometimes in communities we often talk about wanting to grow and expand our economy, but when opportunities come, the door isn't always open. And I think it's really exciting that we are opening the door and we're making efforts to expand our economy and look at alternative operations in Sweetwater County. And I applaud the SEDC group for leading the efforts and really hope that this partnership will occur, because I really think there's strong benefits. And I think one of the reasons that Commissioner Shanfield said why was community. And when you look throughout the community and support, we have so many great facets in Sweetwater County that a lot of other places don't, like the community college and the partnerships within industry and the hospital and education. So I'm really excited about this opportunity and want to thank everyone that's been part of it to really open that door that's often closed to make a move forward. So thank everyone.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Anything else, commissioners, before I have Mr. Bingham read the resolution? Okay, Mr. Bingham, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. So this is Resolution 2108, CC01, support of Natrium Reactor project in Sweetwater County. Whereas Rocky Mountain Power and TerraPower have announced Wyoming as a future location of an innovative advanced nuclear facility to replace an existing coal-fired plant named the Natrium Reactor project, which will provide a technology that is one of the fastest and lowest cost paths to provide world-changing advanced clean energy. Whereas Rocky Mountain Power has announced the location of 4 different retiring coal-fired plants, which includes our existing Jim Bridger power plant, as a potential site for the proposed Natrium project, which would allow for mitigation and diversification rather than retirement. Sweetwater County has engaged with local leaders, legislators, stakeholders, community partners, local business owners, educators, which expressed overwhelming support for the Natrium project. Whereas on July 7th, 2021, the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners wrote a letter of support for the Natrium Reactor project with a proposal that highlighted the Sweetwater County's greatest amenities, facilities, quality of life, and workforce, along with letters of support from local legislators, municipalities, airports, chambers, bus service providers, school districts, college, and enterprise committee. Whereas Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners believe that Sweetwater County offer qualified, well-trained workforce, extraordinary quality of life, housing, recreation, K through 12 education, art, culture, family activities, along with immense opportunities for residents and potential workforce to live, work, and play. Sweetwater County has Western Wyoming College that is a hub for workforce and economic development with a number of signature programs that fall within the division of manufacturing and industrial technology, which will provide workforce needs for Natrium project, including retraining of existing plant employees and development of programs to support future nuclear technology jobs. Whereas Sweetwater County also offers the necessary infrastructure to support your project, which includes transportation and infrastructure such as Interstate 80, Union Pacific Railroad, a rapidly growing commercial airport, and a robust fiber backbone that continues to expand. Whereas Sweetwater County has shown continued support of the extractive industry through continuous upgrades to road infrastructure, memorandum of understandings to assist with roadway maintenance, assistance and financial assistance to extraction industry through industrial revenue bonds. Now therefore be resolved, the Sweetwater County Board of County Commissioners support the placement of the future advanced nuclear facility in Sweetwater County.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. Any other questions regarding the resolution, commissioners? The one question that I would ask, I would directly ask our Commissioner Tolman, who works very closely with CLG. Commissioner Tolman, would CLG be supportive of this?
They probably would, but we have competing counties, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
That I think they've taken a position that each county will defend their own.
All right, and then I know if they send out a letter in opposition or something like that, it would be possible.
No, they would not do
wouldn't.
that.
All right,
No. No,
very-
we've already agreed as a coalition that we're not going to weigh in to either yay or nay because we have Lincoln County up and several other counties also. So no, they will just take a no position.
All righty, I
They
appreciate
do
that.
support it. They're just not going to say which ones.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, because that would concern me if we were in different arenas.
No.
All right, thank you very much. With knowing that information and that input from Commissioner Tolman, Commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding the resolution 21-08-CC-01, which is support of Natrium Reactor project in Sweetwater County?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield,
I would like to make a motion to approve.
we have a motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Tolman. We have a second by Commissioner Tolman. Is there any further discussion? Eric, will this resolution be sent to the Rocky Mountain Power and Terra Power?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. With that, no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Eric, thank you very much
Yeah.
for your hard work, and I know Mr. De Leon helped you with
Yes,
it
he
as
did.
well. So we thank you, and it was done rather quickly, but done very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, let's go back up to tab D since Fire Chief Bornasian is now available, and that's the acceptance of the fiscal year 2020 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Award. And to present that is Ms. Marshall and Fire Chief Bornasian. Good morning, Christina, and good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you. I'll turn the floor over first to Ms. Marshall, and please introduce yourself.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners, I'm Christina Marshall, County Grants Manager. So Sweetwater County was awarded an Assistance to Firefighters grant in the amount of $493,333.33 from the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency. This is a direct award from the federal government, it is not passed through the Wyoming Homeland Security. So the grant itself requires a 5% cash match and must be completed by August 1st, 2023. The purpose of this funding is to enhance the safety and the public or the safety of the public and firefighters with respect to fire and fire-related issues. The Sweetwater County Fire Department will use it to purchase a fully functional pumper engine that will replace a 52-year-old non-compliant converted apparatus that has over 123,000 miles on it. Additionally, the new pumper will enable the fire department to respond to structural fires without using wildland apparatus and fully implement the 16 firefighter life safety initiatives. So in terms of the budget, the grant award just under $500,000, that requires a 5% match. You'll see that the county match says 4.8%, and that's because this match is on the grant itself and not the project. Most times when I say this grant has a match, it's on the total project budget. So the total budget of this is $518,000. So a couple notes, there is actually no grant agreement to sign, but it must be formally accepted online before September 1st of this year. And this grant match was not specifically included into the fiscal year 2022 budget, but as our Public Works Director discussed with you earlier this year, we're not applying for a CMAQ grant. And so there is actually enough match funding in the current budget. So you will not need to do a budget amendment. So of course, I'd like to have the county fire warden discuss this project that we've been applying for many years. So Mike, I'll leave it to you.
Good morning, Mike. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. When I first came here 6 years ago, one of the first things I did was identify what our current situation was and what apparatus was feasible to even keep, try to repair, and what to get rid of. We removed 13 pieces of rolling stock out of our inventory. We held on to, at that time, an old Dodge pumper. That wasn't even really safe to operate. We just kept it kind of as a reserve in case it was ever needed somehow, some way. Eventually, we took it totally out of service and surplused it. And identifying needs of the fire department, at that time, we had 3 military 6x6s and 2 1-ton brush trucks that were both overweight, as well as some other miscellaneous equipment, the bus, things like that, smaller pickups. So what we really need is we need a Type 3 engine. A Type 3 engine is a wildland urban interface engine. We don't only need it for our department, we need it for the county. The county doesn't have a Type 3, and it's really the workhorse of wildland urban interface, which we have a lot of in Sweetwater County. And a lot of departments in the modern era in the last 20 years are going to Type 3 apparatus. It's not a pavement fire truck like the cities run. It's not another fire truck that would just add to those numbers. It's truly an all-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, off-road, on-road, structural vehicle fire, all-around fire apparatus. Carry about 750 gallons of water, more than what we currently can carry. It can help defend structures with foam and CAFs, compressed air foam system capability. It really is what we've had a gap in since we've been here. And as I've expressed to the commission many times annually, that's the one truck we've always wanted to try to get into and make our department complete, and would truly do that. I've applied for this grant 6 consecutive years with no success, and we're fortunate enough to receive it this year. And I'll leave it at that. Open up to questions.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioners, any questions for either Chief Bornasian or Ms. Marshall?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a question for for Warden Bernasian.
Commissioner Lloyd?
Well, first of all, Mike, before I ask my question, congratulations on getting the grant after 6 years. That's pretty huge. And we often talk about the bang for the buck, and to be able to get possibly get a fire truck for that amount is pretty amazing. So thank you for the work. But I guess the only thing, and you kind of explained this to me, but I need a little more explanation. The only thing that threw me off in the executive summary is it mentions the new pumper will enable the fire department to respond to structural fires without using wildland apparatus. And I guess the reason I was thrown off by that is I thought as a county, we were primarily wildland. And if so, why are we going into more of a structural concept? So I guess that would be my only question.
Sure, it's a great question. When we talk structural, there's really 2 categories of fire suppression. It's wildland and structural. But when we take structural, it's a much bigger and broader description of the type and class of fires. So in the structural umbrella, car fires, vehicle fires of any kind, railroad fires, oil and gas fires, semi fires, and truly fixed structures all fall into that structural category, so to speak. So we do go to many vehicle fires, many semi fires, and we do it with our wildland equipment, wildland apparatus, but with our structural PPE, personal protective equipment, and SCBAs. And we rely on mutual aid from other departments. Specifically, that's the Green River on to the west side, Wamsutter out to the east side, and occasionally the district, depending on the magnitude. So what this does, it allows us the opportunity to continue to fight. It's a wildland fire apparatus that is capable and certified to fight all classes of fire.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Thank you, Chief Bornasian. Other questions? Any questions, Commissioner Tolman? Okay, thank you. Commissioners, what's your pleasure with regarding this grant project?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield,
I'll make a motion to accept the fiscal year 2020 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Award as presented.
thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Shanefield to accept the fiscal year 2020 Assistance to Firefighters Grant Award as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Mike. Mike, you're out there in Montana, is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're trying to manage 3 fires and we're hoping for some rain tonight.
Very good. Well, you stay safe and we'll look forward to you having a safe return. Thank you for what you do for the county.
Oh,
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
bet.
you all.
Thank
Thank you all for your support. This is really, really, really exciting for us.
It is for the county as well, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for due diligence, and thank you, Christine, also for due diligence support with these grants. Thank you. All right, moving on. We'll go to tab G. If is Mr. Legursky here, as well as Brenda, are you sitting in for Gary? Okay, very good. Let's go on with tab G, and that's request to restaff a vacant position in the facilities and custodial department. Here with us is out of the HR department, Miss Brenda, as well as Mr. Legursky. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
Before you is a request to restaff a vacant custodian position. Potentially, there's an increase to the position if the new employee coming in would elect family health insurance. The employee that just left was a single coverage. So it wouldn't be an increase to the budget unless that person came in with family coverage.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Mr. Legursky, you got anything to add regarding this facilities custodial position? And it's a resignation, I believe.
It's the second one actually we've
Yeah.
done in 2 months.
Wow.
The first one we chose not to bring in front of you guys because I think we're okay.
Okay,
This one is our custodial lead over in Rock Springs. She manages all the people over in Rock Springs, the Justice Center, HHS, the complex out there. She actually moved on for a better opportunity at Genesis, which you can't blame her.
no,
Sounds like good upward mobility for her. So I wish her well, but we do need this position over there. The other one actually that resigned was also, she was getting her degree. So she's now an accountant down in Denver. So kudos. That's what it's for. Can't blame her for doing that. So
kudos to those
Yep.
people. Thank you.
yeah, we're going to lose another one in 6 months too. Same thing. So, but it's just the nature of the beast.
All
But
right.
this one we do need.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Legursky or Brenda? Cool. Okay, I have one. Is there potential that somebody already working in custodial staff could apply and could possibly move up?
Yes.
And if
We're just going to open it up to everybody, but that's hopefully what we'll
that's a
find.
possibility, and if that's a possibility occurs, then that position will be reopened up for restaffing.
Yep. But if we do that, we'll come before you guys and make sure that you guys are aware of that.
All right, thank you very much. All right. Commissioners, any other questions? Mary, any questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, what's your pleasure about the restaffing this position?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith,
I move that we grant the request to restaff the position in custodial immediately.
okay, we have a motion to restaff the position in custodial immediately. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda item, tab H for Mr. Legursky. It's the subordination and relocation agreement with Dominion Energy of Utah. Gene, the floor is yours.
What this is for is Dominion Energy is running a new gas line up to the airport alongside one of their old gas lines. And with the change, when we took over the airport road from YDOT, there were some right-of-way width changes that made their gas line not inside the county right-of-way. So there's some overlapping easements that need to be done and stuff like that. And our license doesn't really cover that. So with the help of everybody, what we've come up with is a subordination and relocation agreement, just to make sure that if we need to widen the road or do something like that in the future and it's not within our right-of-way, that they will move that gas line at their own cost and not our cost, because it was originally in a right-of-way. So that's about it. Vince is here with Dominion if he wants to add anything, or if you want to sit in the back or.
No. Vince, if you want to add anything, come forward and introduce
No,
yourself.
it's much needed, for the airport expansion, everything like that. And they've been working on it, and we're just going through all the paperwork and making sure BLM, Rock Springs Grazing, City of Rock Springs, and us all see the same things.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Legursky?
This does not require a signature by you guys. It's just by them, but I would like you guys to accept it formally so everybody knows and it's on the record.
All right, sounds good. Other questions for Mr. Legursky? I did hear you say it's running up to the airport.
Yes.
Is the line big enough to handle possible development out there as what is planned for that Middle Baxter area?
I don't know, but I know they were Middle Baxter and I don't know what highway it is anymore. It used to be Middle Baxter.
Yeah.
Right there goes off. There's a compressor station there, a pumping station right there where you can take it off and go south, correct? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where everything ties together.
All right, very
right in
good.
that area.
All right, very good. Thank you. Other questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman. Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
Commissioner Toman.
I would just add that this spring, the airport did agree to that 6-inch line so that we could do full development at the airport.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Commissioner Toman. So that's good news. All right, commissioners, what's your pleasure regarding the subordination and relocation agreement with Dominion Energy of Utah?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield,
I'll make a motion to approve and accept the subordination and relocation agreement with Questar Gas Company doing business as Dominion Energy Utah.
okay, we have a motion to approve and accept the subordination and relocation agreement with Dominion Energy of Utah. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Second by
I would-
Commissioner. Yes.
I would be happy to second that if someone didn't.
All righty. I think Commissioner Lloyd kind of beat you to
Okay.
it. I'm sorry, Mary. But anyhow, although, any further discussion? With that, all favor, all.
Aye.
I know, I got tongue twisted. My mind went blank. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. And I'd like to say thank you to Dominion Energy of Utah for having taken the initiative to get that up there to help the airport, as well as I'm sure it's going to help us as we develop. So thank you, Dominion Energy. And thank you, Gene, for bringing that forward. Up next, under tab I, we have a donation of Culvert to the Gateway Trail System. And again, you're up, Mr. Legursky.
So what this is, I was approached by Randy Dale with the Gateway Trail System. It's the trail that they're currently building behind Western and Gateway Boulevard. It's about a 3-mile long trail, and they've been doing it for about 3 months now. And different entities have donated different things to them. They've gotten some culverts donated by the city of Rock Springs, Sunrock. Everybody's kind of came together as a community. The firefighters have helped them out, build a lot of trail, a lot of man hours from other people just donating time to build this trail. But they're in lack of one 18-inch culvert to kind of finish I believe the southern, well, depending on how you look at it, I guess we'll just say the southwestern end of the trail. And we have about 18 culverts that are out in our yard that meet this description. So I was wondering if you guys would like to donate that to them. We just take it out of inventory and give it to them.
Thank you, Gene. Commissioners, questions, comments? None?
I think it's a good thing.
Well, it's, I think this is a segue into one item that I would have reported. And I'll take the opportunity, commissioners, at this time on a report to say that not only would we be making a donation out of our road and bridge with this culvert from the county, but presently we have a number of county employees working on this trail. I know Mr. Bingham has worked, been on his own time, but we do know that Sweetwater County firefighters, under the direction of Chief Bornasian, has firefighters out there helping to build this trail, which is what they'll do during fires, is build and trails and that type of thing. So they're getting training plus getting credit for their firefighting by assisting. So they've been assisting out there, and I think they have about a mile of trail built already, and not quite, Eric? 1,000 feet. Okay. That's what they have, and they figure it's going how much further?
Right at 3 miles, isn't it?
Right at 3 miles. So yeah, so it's a big project, and everybody's pitching in, and it's moving slowly, but anyhow, I want to thank our firefighters and Chief Bornasian for working in that arena and helping assist, and Eric and other employees throughout the county, but also Road and Bridge, if we approve this donation of this culvert. So with that, if there's no more comments, Commissioners, your pleasure.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Smith.
I move that we approve the donation of the culvert to the Gateway Trails System as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Smith to approve the donation of the culvert to Gateway Trail System. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene. Okay, up next at 9:35 is the maintenance agreement for Clearview improvements. And then at 9:55 is the update on Western States, tribal nations. But we do have a agenda item that was added, and that's a resolution for passenger trains. So Commissioners, why don't we move that one up and take that right now? And I would ask that Commissioner Smith take the floor, and this item belongs to you.
Mr. Chairman,
So, yes,
could I ask for a 5-minute break?
yes, you may. We'll take a 5-minute break as requested by our legal. So we'll come back to what's left of our agenda. Thank you.
Okay.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mary, can you hear us? Are you back?
I'm back.
Thank you. I'll call this meeting to order, and from recess with that, we'll continue to move on. We were in the process of our amended agenda item, and that was a resolution for passenger train service, and I'll turn the floor over to Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did want to mention, I missed your gavel yesterday. I know you travel with it and take it with you everywhere. So, oh no, I'm sure it was in your back pocket. So I did miss it yesterday when you asked me to chair. So that's okay. Next time I'll get to.
All he knows where it's at.
All right. No worries. I like to hear it and I just didn't get to do it yesterday. So
Oh, I'm so
Anyway,
sorry. It's
some other
fun.
day.
It's fun.
it sounds fun. This is a resolution supporting passenger rail expansion in the greater Northwest, including Wyoming and Sweetwater County. It's President Biden, as we all know, Railroad Joe, as he likes to be called. I think Railroad Joe. I think that's what he likes. Something like that. Anyway, he's a big fan of rail for many years into work in DC from Delaware, and asked that. Sent some money towards rail expansion, a lot of money, and Amtrak. So we were hopeful here in the West that would mean the reinstatement, perhaps, of some defunct passenger rail lines that had been in service for many years previous to now. And unfortunately, end of March 31st, Amtrak announced their plans, and it left a gaping hole here in the Northwest. And so the states of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North and South Dakota, as well as portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin, have come together in an effort to have Amtrak look again and reinstate some of these service lines for passenger rail service. For us, it would be rail service into Ogden, then down to Salt Lake, also off to Cheyenne, Fort Collins, Denver, the other direction as well, and would tie into existing lines. So for us, that's, it in the wintertime when you can't travel on the roads, this seems like it would be a less stressful. And I rode rail a lot when I lived in Utah into work and around, and enjoy it very much. So we have a resolution 21-08-CC-02 with giving support to the expansion of rail service by Amtrak here into Sweetwater County and throughout Wyoming.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioners, any questions regarding the resolution? Okay, with that, I'll ask that Commissioner Smith, I'll entertain a motion from Commissioner Smith.
I move that we accept resolution number 21-08-CC-02.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Lloyd. Any discussion, commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Commissioner Toman.
I think it would be a good idea, but we did have Amtrak at one time, and I don't know if you could include that in the resolution, but they would not give it priority. So you'd sit on the side rails while the freight trains went by. You might be derailed for 6, 8, 10 hours. And the other thing, if they would run it at night so you could arrive in the morning to be able to do business. But of course, I know we would not have those options maybe, but those would be 2 important points.
Thank you, Commissioner Toman. Any other comments, commissioners? Your thoughts about Commissioner Toman's recommendation?
She and I talked previously about it, and that is something to, I guess, coin a phrase, down the line a little bit.
As if it comes to fruition.
Exactly. We need to just try to get them to look at service here in the Northwest altogether, and then into specific areas. And from then, I'm sure there'll be, if it were to come here to Wyoming, then we can probably talk about the details of it and making sure that it is convenient and user friendly, so people will actually use it and it doesn't fail.
Very good. Commissioner Toman, you okay? If it looks like it's come to fruition, then we address the points that you brought up.
Yes, I just wanted to bring the points out now. I know it's
No,
not the
they're-
time, but
No,
that's correct.
I think your points are well noted because yes, agree with you very much. The only pieces of the discussion I'd like to say is there's great tales being told about Amtrak from previous years and it would be a great opportunity for continuation of even better tales to be told in the future. So with that, we have a motion by Commissioner Smith to approve, and I believe it was seconded by Commissioner, help me out, Sally. Lloyd, thank you. So with that, no further discussion. Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Smith, for carrying that and bringing it forward.
You're welcome. And I would mention, I should have mentioned this earlier, visiting All Aboard NW for Northwest, allaboardnw.org has the map, the proposed map of rail service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, our next agenda item is scheduled for 9:35, and that's a maintenance agreement for Clearview Improvement District Street and Roads and Mr. Lee, help me out, Sally. Splet was supposed to be here this morning and has not, but could show up on Zoom. I do know our next agenda item is scheduled at 9:55, and that's an update for Western States and Tribal Nations Natural Gas Initiative, and that will be by Zoom. So I think at this point in time, we'll just let's take a break till about, let's go 9:50, 9:45. If Mr. Splet shows up, we will wait until 9:45. And one or two things is I'll make a decision if Tribal Nations is aboard. We'll do them because that would be their time, and then ask Mr. Splet to present afterwards. So let's take a break until 9:45. Thank you. call this meeting back to order. At this time, looking at a tab J, which is the maintenance agreement for Clearview Improvement Acres, District Sewer and Roads. The presenter, Lee Spleth, is not present. So at this time, I would entertain a motion from the commission that this topic be postponed until a future date in which representation from Clearview may request to meet with us.
I'd so move.
Motion from Commissioner Lloyd. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Lloyd.
after seeing the summary that our engineer Gene Legursky sent us with the history of Clearview Acres, I would encourage Mr. Splett to come talk to us because it's so convoluted over the years with all the different ordinances and variances and discussions. So I do think it's an important conversation that has to be had, but I do believe it should postpone until he can be here.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Let me expound on that a little bit. We do know that Mr. Spleth is planning to retire and leave the district sometime here in the near future. So it's either going to be he or a representative. And point B on what you were saying, I've already requested that that Mr. De Leon, our Assistant County Attorney, review not only the documentation that was presented to him by Mr. Legursky, our Public Works Director, that primarily references roads. I've asked our Assistant County Attorney to also review anything that may have to do with water and sewer, because we need to be up to date and need to know exactly where this commission is at based on prior commission resolutions and commitments, and try to pull it all together and formulate a plan to be ready for Clearview Acres. So would you agree?
Mhm.
All right. So with that, we have a motion to approve and a second. And if there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. So that will be postponed. Up next is tab K, and that's an update from Western States and Tribal Nation Natural Gas Initiative. And I believe that's a Zoom presentation by Mr. Andrew Browning. Mr. Browning, are you out there?
I am here. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you please take a moment and introduce yourself to the commission and those in the chamber? And the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. My name is Andrew Browning. I am president of Western States and Tribal Nations Natural Gas Initiative. I think I've addressed you all before as we were bringing our organization together last year and putting some structure around efforts to find markets on the North American West Coast, find export opportunities on the North American West Coast for Rockies gas to supply Asian markets. If I've forwarded a PowerPoint presentation, if it's okay, I'll share my screen and kind of walk through our organization and some of the accomplishments we've had over our past year of being together, and what our mission and priorities will be for the future months. So I'm going to share screen right now.
Please do.
And is it showing?
It is. Thank you.
Excellent. So as our name kind of attests, we're Western States and Tribal Nations we're a unique transnational natural gas initiative led by sovereign tribal nations, states, and counties of the Rockies basins. The basins that are represented in our organization are Green River, the Piceance Basin, the Uinta Basin, and San Juan. were unique in the fact that we were founded by the states and tribes. We organized about 2 years ago under a report that was developed between that we produced, that was supported by the Colorado Energy Office under then Governor Hickenlooper and the Utah Governor's Office of Energy Development, understanding that the basins were kind of focused on their own efforts to find markets for natural gas. Specifically, some work had been done in the Piceance Basin, kind of outlining the potential for export through Jordan Cove, and recognizing that a lot of the issues were political and policy. That the decision was made that we would be better working on these issues together, and focusing our efforts on more broadly, not just on Jordan Cove. So we have worked over the past year. We released the report. The report called for the establishment of Western states and tribal nations, and we have been growing over the past years. The past year to include these are all kind of charter members that have signed our MOU. Blackhawk Energy with the Jicarilla Apache tribe in New Mexico. The Southern Ute Indian tribe just joined us a couple of weeks ago. The state of Baja California, Mexico. The state of New Mexico. The state of Utah. The state of Wyoming. The Ute Indian tribe of Utah, and then the western Colorado counties of Garfield, Mesa, Moffett, and Rio Blanco. The Colorado counties are members, not the state of Colorado, because as the Polis administration came in, they decided that they really wanted to focus on electrification, and we're not going to be supportive of efforts to export natural gas. So the Western Colorado counties have come in as an MOU member. The piece on the side, I think, is the letter on the side is to the Energy Secretary of New Mexico, who was considering a 20-year export authorization permit for Energía Costa Azul, which I'll get to in a little bit. That's a Sempra LNG effort, and I think it outlines the strength of our organization, the potential to use the sovereign states and tribes as bully pulpits to engage foreign governments to develop markets. This was a request for Sempra's export permit by Governor Gordon, Governor Herbert, Governor Lujan Grisham. So it was both bipartisan nature, and then the chairman of the Ute Indian tribe, Luke Duncan. And so this was actually delivered to the Mexican Energy Secretary and was discussed when the president of Mexico visited the White House under President Trump in July of 2020. So going on, we have a formalized board of directors. The state of Wyoming, through the Wyoming Energy Authority, is represented by Bobby Ralston, who is with Occidental Petroleum. He is our vice chair industry liaison. Our membership, we're about 21 paying members, including the counties of the Western Colorado, Duchesne County, Uintah County. I actually should have updated this. The Wyoming Coalition of Local Governments was a funding member, and as indicated, it's not going to be able to support us this year. And so I need to address that, which is part of the reason I'm talking to you all today. Just to a few of our kind of talking points as we have reached out and built our narrative on LNG exports. We have put together analysis on our advantages, the ample supply of natural gas. The Rockies basins collectively are producing over 11, almost 12 billion cubic feet a day. The states themselves, and I'll kind of point specifically to the Wyoming Energy Authority, has bonding authority for infrastructure development. The Wyoming Energy Authority's bonding authority is very specific on on gas infrastructure, energy infrastructure inside or outside of the state. Utah and New Mexico also possess this bonding authority, and we are looking at some analysis on what we might do to collectively bundle that authority to address infrastructure deficits on getting gas out. Specifically, and I've talked about Energía Costa Azul. That is a plant in Baja California, Mexico, Sempra LNG. They have just started on phase one of their plant, which is 500 million cubic feet a day. They already have gas contracts from the San Juan Basin in New Mexico and from the Permian on the El Paso pipeline. Really, the large sum of our efforts are to kind of set the table for Energía Costa Azul to access the gas from the Rockies basins at collectively at almost 15 million tons per year. They would be taking almost 3 BCF a day. So that's almost a 20-25% jump from the total Rockies gas production. I think that would see ripple effects. Certainly would realize that'd be a huge uptick in gas development for our basins collectively. The reduced geopolitical risk, and these are some of the talking points that when we meet with Asian LNG exporters or Asian policymakers from Japan or South Korea. They're very focused on the geopolitical risk of gas from other countries, specifically even from the United States. They see gas having to go through the Panama Canal as being kind of a technical and economic risk. Gas from that could be exported from the North American West Coast, from Baja California, Mexico, would be a huge reduction in geopolitical risk for them. And it's something that I think is a significant factor in their decision making on where to access gas. And as I said, we are the Rockies basins collectively, especially for Energía Costa Azul, are in competition with other basins, and that is a point that we make, and we're doing some analysis on what that actually means in terms of reduction in transport costs, reduction in time, which is money, to Asian markets. I could tell you specifically, a boatload of LNG from Energía Costa Azul will take half the time to reach Tokyo as it would having to traverse the Gulf of Mexico and through the Panama Canal. One of the other things that we're really looking to lead on is ESG clean fuel certification standards as they continue to develop. And I'll get to a study that we just released in June in just a second. But we are looking at partnering with the state of New Mexico's and some money that they have to develop a green fuel certification program. And that proposal, that effort is still pending. But also we're trying to better understand evolving hydrogen markets and where we can lead on those. I know that the Southwest Wyoming is considered one of the prime areas for hydrogen hub development because of obviously ample gas supplies. Your producers are among are responsible. The major producers are producing responsibly sourced gas and are among the lowest in methane emissions, I think, in the country. That's very important to major companies like Total, Sempra, and Mitsui as they're transitioning, trying to lower the carbon content of their value chain. And so we're looking at some additional analysis that would look at the Rockies basins, their potential for carbon capture and sequestration and to become major hydrogen hubs. All the basins have that potential. And I'd specifically point out Green River is pretty specific in terms of the geology for CCS and the low methane profile of the gas produced there. I did mention that we did release a study that was based off a peer-reviewed study done in Canada by University of Calgary, supporting with support from Johns Hopkins, Southern Methodist Universities, academics from those organizations, and MIT. The initial study done looked at exports, LNG exports from British Columbia, and the displacement of coal-fired power generation in some of the main Asian countries. And we decided to engage the key authors of that study to come look at the Rockies basins, and specifically focusing on Green River, Piceance, Uinta, and San Juan, to do kind of a wellhead to burner tip analysis of LNG exported from, specifically we looked at Jordan Cove as a prospect, and then Energía Costa Azul, so Coos Bay, Oregon, and then Baja California, Mexico, exported to the markets of China, India, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and displacing specifically coal used for coal used for electric generation. The bottom line kind of takeaway top line points is that Rockies gas, and this includes kind of all the analysis on emissions upstream and through the system, export terminal and through export. But you still saw an average of a 40% drop in life cycle greenhouse gas emissions, up to almost 50% in India, and 50% in Japan, 53% in South Korea, and so this is solid analysis, based upon data from the U.S. government, from the Department of Energy, other peer-reviewed studies, and it underscores the need, the point that the low-hanging fruit on climate issues, climate reduction, are reducing coal-fired power generation in China and India, and it underscores the importance of natural gas to serve as a bridge source of energy for those reduction goals. And the benefits to the economies of our basins and to the environment are huge. And we have set up a number of meetings with the incoming Biden administration, with congressional officials on both sides of the aisle, all the major committees, to talk about our report, to introduce our organization and kind of its unique nature as being kind of formed by the states to advocate for their basins. And this is some of the data and analysis that we're pushing out in order to better position our basins. So I've already talked a little bit on some of the work we're doing on hydrogen. That is kind of a futuristic stuff, but I think it's important. When I say futuristic, I think all the groundwork is being laid for this right now. It's not immediately going to impact natural gas markets, but huge potential into the future. And so we're trying to better understand where we can play and what the potential is, not only for hydrogen for export to California markets that are looking at hydrogen, but also for export internationally through possibly ammonia that can be directly injected to coal-fired power generation and achieve emission reductions of up to 20%. So we're looking at this and trying to do some analysis on where some studies that we can do, where we can lead on this important kind of evolving market for natural gas. Finally, this is in support of governmental organizations and regional cooperation agreements that already exist. And I kind of put this out in terms of where we can engage and what's already being done. The Western Governors Association has for specific goals to create functional partnerships among states, federal agencies, tribal governments, and local jurisdictions. Increase cooperation on interstate projects, and so this is something we are kind of fully fleshing out, that we are engaged with, and that frankly interact with the mechanisms that have already been established by the Western Governors. Finally, I think COVID aside, we had planned some prospective trade missions with our sovereign governments, the tribes, the state governments to go out and advocate. This is a meeting actually I had with some Japanese LNG stakeholders right before COVID hit in Houston in March of 2020. This is something I think we're going to resume. I think it's an important part of what we can kind of bring to the table in terms of engaging directly with foreign governments to advocate for our basins. I think when you talk to them, pretty much everyone has heard of Texas and the Permian Basin, but they're not, the story of the Rockies basins and the depth and breadth of the natural gas resources, the low methane profile is not a story that's necessarily out there. That we're gonna continue to tell and expand upon and kind of utilize the unique nature of our government, collaborative our governments and our collaborative efforts to build that rapport and those relationships with those major LNG importers. And the Asian markets are really kind of the holy grail. European markets are already pretty saturated, but really the Asian markets are where the huge growth is going to come. Analysis by BP and Shell indicate that, up to 70% of all new market LNG market development are going to occur in the Asian nations, of which we are best positioned to supply. So I will stop there and answer any questions for the group.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Browning?
Why did our coalition of governments pull out or not able to support this year, including here Sweetwater County in that coalition?
Okay, good question, Commissioner. I think Commissioner Tolman, who has been a great part of coalition of local governments over the past years, and she and I talked about it, and I believe she can bring us up to speed as to what occurred there. Thank you. Commissioner Tolman, the floor is yours.
Yes, we just don't have the funding right now through the coalition. We have our annual dues that all the members pay into it, but we are still working with the governor's office to get the federal natural resource policy account figured out for the next year. So we're not saying that we won't pay any dues, but we just can't do it right now. I want to ask a question though, Mr. Browning. Are you doing any other new research? I know the last research paper that was very interesting.
Yes, we are. I think our next piece of research is to do two things. One, to better understand the financing and bonding mechanisms of the states as if we bundled them together and how those can fill in infrastructure gaps. This is something that's a little bit unique. There's not a whole lot of precedents. Really, the one thing that my staff have been able to come up with that's kind of commensurate is the New York, New Jersey Port Authority. And so what that might look like in terms and where the needs are, just in terms of getting gas out. We're still hopeful that Jordan Cove may live to see another day, but we're really focusing on gaps in the south and the north, but also to do a better understanding of market analysis on LNG and evolving kind of standards and what countries are moving more towards reducing methane along the value chain and moving towards hydrogen. And hydrogen ammonia, something I mentioned Japan. Japan has committed itself, I forgot the exact figure, but I think it's somewhere along 50% hydrogen by the next 20, 30 years. Japan was a first mover on LNG. And so we see them as being, their efforts on hydrogen as kind of moving markets globally. It's important for us to understand that and be a part of it. I know some of the Japanese utilities are already utilizing ammonia directly in for coal-fired power generation. And so what that means, to get a better understanding of that market, those markets as they're evolving, and how that can influence investment and government decisions on pipeline development. So those are the two kind of pieces of market analysis that we're going to be moving forward. I'm hopeful we can get those reports out in the next couple of months. I was actually just on a call prior to this to discuss what, to develop the terms of reference for that RFP.
Thank you, Andrew. Any other questions, Commissioner Tillman?
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Other questions, commissioners? Andrew, this is Commissioner Wendling. Question for you is exactly what's the status for the Northwest, which we're a part of, I believe, in where are we at in getting our natural gas moving towards being exported? I mean, what's the status? Are we moving our gas in that direction, or do we still have pipelines to be built or connected, or what? Can you bring it more close to home, please?
Sure. Well, I can tell you, I think, probably everyone's well aware that Jordan Cove was, a project that would probably have benefited the northwestern basins most immediately. The Jordan Cove needed to build that 220-mile Pacific Connector pipeline, and they were successful in securing their FERC authorization and their DOE export permits. They were successful in getting their kind of on-the-ground permits through the counties, but it was really their inability to secure state permits that halted the project. And so I won't speculate as to what the path forward is. The Pembina indicated it was pulling back at this moment because of the current kind of market and political environment. And so we're hopeful, that we're hopeful that, maybe progression in the markets would be conducive to maybe taking another try. I can tell you that, the LNG development up in Canada and British Columbia is going a little bit stronger. The Shell Canada project, I think, is about 15 million tons per year, and they've had some of the same hiccups along the pipeline routes and getting gas to market as we've experienced, but I think it's probably further along. And I think that there is maybe opportunity for more LNG development in Canada as well. I don't have the timeline just handy on when. I know Shell has already made final investment determination and is putting steel in the ground. I don't have a sense of kind of when the project completion is going to happen, but that 15 million ton per year pull will certainly take a lot of BC and Alberta gas, and we're kind of operating under the assumption that any gas development on the North American West Coast is going to be good for Rockies producers because we'll be, it's a rise in demand and overseas that didn't exist for prior from overseas markets, and the production in our basins will rise commensurately to fill in any gaps that occur because of the export of gas from BC and Alberta that we've previously competed with. So longer term dynamics, but I think working together, and we've had some discussions with Canadian officials on where we can work together. The bottom line is that the gas produced from our basins, whether it's Canada or the United States, are produced under the strictest environmental standards. It's the cleanest gas in the world. As companies continue to evolve their regulatory standards and operating under environmental, social, and governance principles, we feel that should be a comparative advantage for our gas versus gas that's not produced under environmental standards and not produced in democracies with sanctity of contracts and rule of law. So what the premium on that might be in the future is something we're still trying to discover. But I think we helping prepare those types of analysis and addressing the political and regulatory equations to to set the table for our gas is an important job to undertake.
Thank you. One other question on the conversation is, as important as it is for us to get Western gas exported and in production and to be shipped out by pipeline or whatever, as much and as soon as possible. As much as I understand that the Canadian gas that would get shipped, the Western gas would probably be used to fill in the gaps. Has there been any conversations of Jordan Cove, some way and how redirecting their pipeline towards the Canadian arena to get Western gas out through Canada?
I think Jordan Cove has indicated they have made some investments in some LNG export facilities in British Columbia. Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I forgot the name of the project, but it was announced a couple of months ago.
So it sounds promising for Western gas.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? With that, Andrew, I believe the next steps would be as to whether the commission wishes to enter into a yearly commitment to the tribe, to Western states at a tune of $5,000 per year. Is that correct?
Correct. That's what we ask per counties.
That's what you're asking per county.
Yeah.
I did hear from Commissioner Toman that this was a point that they weren't able to determine to commit through the CLG pending funding from NERPA out of the governor's office. Is that correct, Commissioner Toman?
Yes, that's correct.
My question to you, Commissioner Toman, do you have any idea what the timeline is?
We're having a meeting this week with the governor's policy advisor, but I don't know exactly where the funding is going to be. I think it's going to be tight for the coalition to be able to pay those dues this year.
It's going to be tight. You're kind of you're breaking up. You're very staticky, Commissioner Toman. Would you please restate what you were sharing?
Yes, we are meeting with the governor's office this week, but I still do not believe that the coalition will have the funding to pay those dues this year. But I think it's a worthy thing, and perhaps the county should consider it if we have it in our budget.
Thank you. So then it sounds like the coalition, even if they do get some support from the governor's office, still won't have the money to be invoiced at $5,000 per year. My question are, commissioners, how, Commissioner Toman, of course, working with the CLG last year when they approved that, when it was taken to the CLG from this commission, they felt it worthy to invest representing the 4 counties. Commissioners, my question to you is, do you feel Commissioner Toman says would be beneficial? What's your thoughts, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Shanefield.
I believe that it is beneficial and that the information shared today was very important for us to be involved in. And I agree with supporting this.
Very good. Other comments, commissioners? If I may have the floor, I'll go back to last year. I believe the 4 commissioners sitting in chambers who agreed it was important, and it was requested that before we made a decision to move forward to invest membership dollars, that it be taken to CLG, and then CLG picked it up. So with that, I would ask my fellow commissioners at the table if their feelings have changed any from last year or from the presentation. I know Commissioner Shanefield has expressed hers as well as Commissioner Toman, but my other commissioners at the table, do you feel differently?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Commissioner Smith.
It's probably our turn. If we had CLG do it last year representing our 3 counties, then we should be able to step up this year and support that while they may be struggling with other
Thank you.
commitments.
Commissioner Lloyd?
As I sit here, I do think it's beneficial and we need to be advocating for our natural resources. But as we continue to go through our budget and look at budget cuts and changes and those things, I just want to ensure that if we continue or we move forward with this, with that $5,000 allotment, that we're getting our bang for our buck, and that that money couldn't be used in other places that we've had to move money around from, would be my only concern.
Thank you. Okay, any other comment? With that, I would ask commissioners, is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to make that motion.
Commissioner Tolman is happy to make a motion that we support the Western Tribals with a dues payment of $5,000 per year. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shanefield. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Got an opposition by Commissioner Lloyd. Motion carries. Mr. Browning, please invoice Sweetwater County for the $5,000, and we will make sure that we're listed as a member.
Thanks so much for your support. I look forward to prospect of meeting you all personally someday and giving you some good updates on our moving the needle forward for Western Gas. Thanks for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Browning, and you have a good and safe time out there.
Same to you. Thank you.
All right, with that, we move into commissioner reports, and first up is Commissioner Coleman. Good morning again, Commissioner.
Can you hear me now? Is
Yeah,
it
you're
okay?
breaking up though. I don't know if it's your speaker or what it is, location. I don't know, but it's just crackling.
I'm on broadband too.
Well,
I don't
try
know.
it. Try it, and we'll see if we can get through your report, okay?
Okay, I'll try to condense it a little bit here. Busy
All
week. We had fair, so that took a lot of time for all of us, but it was great. Attended the Sweetwater County Outdoor Collaborative meeting. They adopted their charter. The airport board meeting, I can never do justice to it, so I brought the plane along instead this time. No. There are so many things happening at the airport. It's always so exciting. Bob Pizzato was appointed vice chairman. They're reviewing, I need my glasses here. They're reviewing the scope of work for the $19.5 million airport improvement project. We, Brett Pizzato, I'm sorry, let me correct that. Brett Pizzato is vice chairman. We reviewed master plans for the storm drain water system, the septic system, and the culinary water, which Devin was able to incorporate that into the master plan for the new terminal. A new snowblower is on its way from Norway. So that's a quick rundown of what's happening at the airport. I've been involved in planning meetings for the Sublet Mule Deer Migration Corridor. I'm on that group, and our meeting will be on Thursday in Pinedale. So I will conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Tolman. Any questions, commissioners? With no further questions, good report. Thank you. Up, Commissioner Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just start by kicking off and thanking the events complex and everyone that all their work for the fair. It was an outstanding, great week of events, culminating with a super large crowd on Saturday night. But it was really great to see the activity happening and the busyness in the community, and the numbers, I think, of some of the out-of-town folks who were able to attend that increased some of our that's a real benefit to our community. Want to thank the 4-H and FFA groups for their work on the auction and their projects, and a big thanks to all the buyers. I just want to give a kudos to Integrated Well Services. Last year, they were the leading buyer at the fair, and this year it was reported they bought over $31,000 in livestock at the fair. So there's a list of that in Sweetwater now, but big thanks to all those buyers, and especially I'll just make it personal, Coastal Chemical and 307 Tire, because they made two Lloyd kids very happy with the sale of their animals. So with that being for a great work by Larry and Candy and the folks up there and their board for all the work that they did at the fair. It was a great event. Want to kind of tag onto something that Devin talked about earlier, and big kudos to Devin and the airport group. Groundbreaking today on the terminal project, which is something that started before I became a commissioner. And just really excited about hearing that project move forward, and just the efforts that Devin has made. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about bang for your buck, and Devin has been really truly been able to make that statement huge with the grants he's received and the contributions we've had to make. So big thanks to Devin and that group. As far as some liaison work, library board meeting last night, a couple interesting numbers that were shared. Last month, over 1,000 individuals utilized the Children Discovery Center. They're also visited the Discovery Center, and that's opening up a little bit more. Currently, there are over around approximately 31,000 patrons with library cards in the community. So it just shows the impact the library has. And they're wrapping up their summer programs with kids starting school in Rock Springs today and Green River tomorrow. So that's exciting. Conservation District, we met last week. We were supposed to have a workshop with Little Snake River Conservation District, which we were unable to have. So that's been rescheduled for next month or a subsequent month. And they continue to move forward with their work. Really, I don't think I have anything huge to report from that meeting, but it was a lot was actually talked about the drought conditions and the dryness of where we're at and some of the water problems it's creating and crop problems it's creating throughout the county. Tripartite board, we met and went through some of the allocations. The board did move some of our money that had not been expended by some of the organizations and moving them to organizations that had been spending their money and were at completion of their spending projects. So we do move forward with that. Outside of that, I met with Christina. We talked about some of the American Recovery Act funds. And I know I've said this a couple of times, I think as we get more information and we move forward with that, it's integral that we consider creating a committee or a work group that really makes recommendations and works through that of what where we could and how we can spend the money through recommendations. And also outside of meeting with Christina, I met with a lot of different department heads. I met with Gene, Eric, elected officials and such as Dave, Assessor Davis, and Treasurer Joe Barbudo. I've also met with Gary McLean. So pretty busy last couple of weeks also. And just a couple more other things. Our first 911, our joint telecom meeting for re-looking at that MOU. Our first meeting with that intergovernmental group will be tomorrow at 3:30. So excited about moving forward with that project. And then the last thing, just two more things. One would be with next week for our first our first strategic planning meeting back in a while, since we're going to do it on the first meeting of each month. I've conversed with Commissioner Shainfeld, and we're going to take a little different format of this attack at this one. We will be inviting our usual folks if they want to attend, the elected officials and department directors, component agencies. But the communication, the conversation is really going to be limited to the podium up here and the five of us. We've taken a lot of information during strategic planning from all our departments, all our directors, our elected officials. And I think it's time that we start kind of talking about what we see as the big issues as a commission and moving forward with how do we address those and what are the priorities and how do we get there? And so that just as a heads up, that I'll get an agenda to you guys in the next week or so, but that will be the direction we go. And the last thing I just want to talk, and I've been debating about this for 2 weeks, but I'm just going to share. When I ran for commission 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's gone fast. I actually spoke about how I would bring a professionalism and respect to the table. And upon reviewing and looking at the tape during our meeting to appoint Commissioner Barbuto, I made a comment regarding a former commissioner and how I wasn't going to appoint him on a reappoint. And I don't think that was the most appropriate comment. I don't think it was meant to be negative, but the bigger piece was, I don't think it was the professional language and the respect I said I would bring to the podium, which I have for 3 years. And so I just want to apologize to the constituents for not following through on my promise and making a comment that was probably not necessary. So that is where I have today. And if there's any other comments, that would be great. Or questions.
Any questions for Commissioner Lloyd? Thank you. Good report. I believe mine's up next. And again, like most of you, some of the things we've already shared throughout the meeting that we've done. I will point out to you that you got an email from Eric, and there's many pictures showing the trail system that they've been working on up at the college that we approved a culvert for. So take some time to check your email and look for the Gateway Trail System pictures from Eric. Very good progress being made, but a lot of work still being done. Also, I shared with you, we passed around a agenda that's being prepared that Sally sent to the Star this morning regarding the intergovernmental meeting for the 25th of this month, starting at 5:30, which the commission will present from this room, but also be offered for Zoom to our other intergovernmental leaders throughout the county and small towns. I look for a good meeting because our small towns are going to be aboard, and there are beginning to be committee reports regarding the general purpose. So we can have some discussion as to the group can hear what the committees are working on and going from there. So that's just share with you that that's coming up. I also attended the fair. I really felt that Sweetwater County Events Complex board and employees went really all out this year to make up for the absence of last year, and have some great concerts and a great midway, as well as a great opportunity for the 4-H kids to present their livestock and show off the fine work that was being done. So my kudos go out to that group as well. And as mentioned, the grant for the fire department, that's great for it, getting the new engine. It'll be great to see it when it comes in. And I'm sure Chief Bornasian, when it's all ready, he'll let us know and we'll be able to go look at it and visit with it. Just to share with you, I did sit in on a Zoom meeting with the city of Rock Springs to have a conversation about stormwater utilities. And as that progresses, we'll move forward. We'll continue to meet with them just to see what the purpose is as far as for Rock Springs, the county, and if possible, Green River. They'll be invited into the invite and that type of thing. I did ask and Commissioner Shanefield said she'd be willing to lead that, and I'll co-lead with her for that meeting. So we'll move forward with that as it moves on, and keep the commission appraised to see if anything substantial comes out of that. But with that busy week with fair and that type of thing, I'll stand for any questions. No questions. Thank you. Up next, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fortunately, my commissioner and liaison for Public Works left it to me to do Public Works this time. All right, thanks. So I will share the report from Gene. In buildings, the grinder pump vaults will be set this morning, and the contractor plans on having everything installed and working by the end of this week. That's good news. Started striping the parking lots of the county buildings as well. Crews are continuing to finish up with our quarterly preventive maintenance projects also. In engineering, the Folsom Lester Pyramid construction project is going well. They've installed approximately 25% of the culverts, and they have 2 crews working in the area. Also submitted our high-risk rural roads sign request to YDOT last week. This is a program that YDOT has every 8 to 10 years where they bulk purchase signs for counties that have high-risk rural roads and then give them back to the counties at no cost to the counties. So that's a good program. We like that. Free is good. And then Bonnie and Jean submitted the annual county road construction and maintenance fund report last week. In Road and Bridge, they've applied magnesium chloride to the roads in Farson, Patrick Draw, South Wamsutter, and the old Little America Road as well. Crews continue to clean up culverts and drainages that were affected by our recent rainfalls and storms. And the rain, while detrimental in some areas, really helped out our road moisture problem for about 1 solid week and allowed crews to catch up on some much needed grading. So thank you, Jean, for that report. And thank you, Roy, for letting me do it for once. It's awesome. Also, not too much else going on. Ambulance have a meeting tomorrow with one of the interested parties in providing ambulance service here in the county. And then our group of Chris Meets out of Green River, Rob Zadi and Chief Jim Walmsley in Rock Springs, Dusty Davis and Sherry Lyon out of Wamsutter will be meeting shortly as soon as I actually organize a meeting. And that's my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Any questions for Commissioner Smith? Great job out there by Public Works and Gene Legursky. So up next, Commissioner Shanefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I attended a Next Gen workshop a couple of days after our last commissioner meeting, and it's always great to have the industry partnership along with education and all of those supports for that partnership in the workshop. I look forward to there's a few meetings coming up with that and some training and as well as our executive leadership team meeting that will be upcoming. SEDC, Eric and Kayla have been working on an ag-related business lead that was requested by Senator Cooper in Bighorn County. And this lead would be one that could fill a vacant 46,000 square foot building if it were to be successful. And I also know that Eric and Kayla have been running around like crazy with a lot of other smaller business leads as well. And so they've definitely been keeping their hands full with that. Kayla has been working on gathering more inventory on properties throughout the county and getting the vacant buildings and available land updated on the Wyoming site pages. The Wyoming Economic Development Association will be offering free webinars starting in September for their economic development education series. And Kayla will be getting more information to us in the coming weeks around what those look like. The first one is going to be on September 15th from 11 to 1. And it's titled Economic Development 101. And then the rest of the webinar, she says, are slated for an hour. And some of the topics include entrepreneurship, financial analysis, federal funding, and a 3-part recruiting series. And how to use the Wyoming Sites program and vetting prospects. So they are super busy as always, which is a good thing. The museum. So they have been working on preparing for an upcoming Crossroads exhibit that's coming from the Smithsonian Institution. The museum is partnering with the Wyoming Humanities Council and the Green River Chamber of Commerce to bring Crossroads to Sweetwater County. The exhibit examines the evolving landscape of rural America, and it will open at the Green River Visitor Center on September 11th. It will be on display through October 24th. So he wanted me to give a little bit of a summary of that. The vast majority of the United States remains rural, with only 3.5% of the landmass considered urban. However, since 1900, the percentage of Americans living in rural areas dropped from 60% to 17%. And so this exhibit looks at that remarkable societal change and how rural Americans responded to that. It's being hosted in partnership. I guess he had a meeting with Lucas Frelick of Wyoming Humanities Council and then Dr. Bernadine Kraft, who's the chair of the Humanities Board in preparation for this, along with Representative Chad Banks. And so there's some great partnerships going on with this, and I'm excited to see it. As everybody is called out, the fair was awesome. It was a huge hit this year. I would just want to say thank you to the events complex staff, the volunteers, 4-H and FFA groups, as well as all the buyers who came out and supported our kids this year. There were great concerts. The Midway was great. It was well needed, I think, for everybody to be able to get out and socialize a little bit. So I don't have any other updates from the events complex. I'm sure they're all taking some well-deserved rest time and vacation time after fair is over. I did have the opportunity to have my first meeting with Star Transit. Nothing eventful. It was a great meeting and it was really nice to officially meet everybody there and be a part of their group. And then we have an upcoming meeting for a general purpose tax process next week. And then we also will be ramping back up on 6 penny and that process as well. So that is all that I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Shanefield. Any questions for Commissioner Shanefield? With no further questions, that'll conclude Commissioner comments and reports under other. We had the, I guess we took care of the resolution that was for the railroad, I believe. So with that, commissioners, at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for legal and personnel. Is scheduled for 11:20. But let's go in for, let's take a break. And when we, do we do a break, John, and then go into?
We do whatever we want once we end this meeting.
Yeah, let's go into executive session and then take a break until our partners get here. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Got a motion by Commissioner Shanefield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Commissioner Tolman, will you be close by or do we need to text you and let you know we're ready?
Yes, I am here, Commissioner.
Okay, we'll text you when our participants are ready for executive session and we start.